Blacks in Technology.
Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology.
Welcome, everybody, to the 31st episode of the Blacks in Technology audio podcast. I am your tech host for this evening, Greg Greenlee. It is July 16th, 2012, and in case this is your first time ever tuning in, Blacks in Technology community site. We're a social website devoted to establishing a community among black techs, share ideas, experiences, knowledge, advice, and ultimately to inspire each other. So you can check us out at www.blacksintechnology.net. You can also follow us on Twitter. It's at Black in Technology, but that's BLKTECHNOLOGY. We also have a LinkedIn group as well, so you can join the group. Currently, right now, I'm happy to announce, actually, that we're up to about 614 members nationwide on the Blacks in Technology community site. We just broke over 1,000 Twitter followers as well, so I'm happy and excited about that. So, just keep supporting Blacks in Technology. Eventually, hopefully at some time in the future, we'll get a Blacks in Technology annual conference going. But we need to get those member numbers up, so tell everybody, keep joining and keep supporting us. Tonight on our podcast, we have Jason Young. Jason is out of Oakland, California, and he's going to talk to us about the Hidden Genius Project. It's something that I kind of stumbled upon. I know Kim Bryant out in Oakland, and she has the Black Girls Code thing organization going on, and I think I stumbled upon it through her. So definitely excited to have Jason Young on the show. So Jason, thanks for joining us this evening.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
So Jason, give us a little bit of background on you, your education, and how you are involved in technology.
Sure. So the majority of my background has really been focused on entrepreneurship. I've been starting businesses since I was about 9. Started my first business after working for a friend's father who was an entrepreneur and being inspired by that experience. And so between the ages of, call it 9 and 18, started a business reselling candy, started a travel agency, tutoring service, and attempted to start my first technology startup when I was about 17. And so from there, went on to college, went to Harvard College where I studied economics, and then after graduating, went to work for Merrill Lynch for a couple of years on the private wealth side. Did that for a couple of years, worked with some great people, a lot of fun, but, quickly realized that, my heart was really, into doing more entrepreneurial things. And so I left Merrill Lynch in 2007 to join an early-stage technology startup called WickInvest. And WickInvest.com, basically had a simple mission, which was to help normal people to invest more effectively by giving them tools as well as research that made investing easier to understand. So I was a product manager there, did that for several years, and in the process of working for WickInvest, started really thinking more about the personal finance side of things, and came up with an idea which eventually became my current startup, which is called Mindblown Labs. And Mindblown Labs is focused on teaching both personal finance and 21st century skills to young people through mobile gaming. And so that's kind of my background, in a nutshell.
Excellent. Harvard grad, also an entrepreneur. So, Mindblown Labs, is that? I'm guessing that's still around.
Right. So we're pretty early stage. We're actually going to be launching our first product this fall.
Okay. So what inspired you to begin or start up Mind Blown Labs? What inspired you to get into the educational side of it?
Well, I've always been passionate about education. In fact, one of my first businesses was a tutoring service. But I was also particularly passionate about personal finance. And mainly that's because I've seen, the impact of poor financial decision-making, that poor financial decision-making can have on people. I've seen that, in terms of my older brother, dropping out of college for him was one of the worst financial decisions he ever made. One of the experiences I had when I was in college was, coming back home, after I think it was my sophomore year, and being evicted the day after Christmas. And
wow.
So, those kind of experiences definitely, stay with you. And, I've generally tried to manage my finances, wisely, but I've also made my own mistakes. But just kind of seeing how that's impacted, both my trajectory, other people's trajectory, really made me want to, try to address this problem. And while I was at WickInvest, I was volunteering on the side, helping young, mainly young adults with their personal finances. And what I found was that, irregardless of income, people have the same issues, which is just around, their inability to budget effectively and, prioritize, their resources.
Yeah. So the Mind Blown Labs and the gaming platform, how did you kind of tie those two things together? How did you tie personal financing in with mobile gaming? And why did you think that was the best route to go, as far as instead of going out, you hear a lot of people when they talk about personal finance, they do a lot of lecturing. They'll go to like a school or something like that. What was it that made you think that, hey, mobile gaming would be probably more effective than me actually going out and speaking to students or speaking to whoever in person?
Well, I was working with people directly, and one of the things I found with working with people is that people need, constant reinforcement of whatever it is, and they need, information that can be delivered in small pieces. And so while it's great to go talk to people, that doesn't really change behavior. You may expose some people to some stuff they don't know, which is always a great thing, but it doesn't solve the problem. What people really need is, to be given small lessons over time and to have those lessons delivered in a way that's relevant to them, and then to have them constantly reinforced. And so, looking at that, and once I understood that, then the next question was, well, how can I accomplish that? And the thing about gaming is great at teaching people things. It keeps people engaged, for an extended period of time. It gets them to dedicate, tens to hundreds of hours, to mastering whatever skill the game happens to be teaching. And, it delivers information just a little bit at a time and gets people to hone those skills by providing immediate and constant feedback. And the thing about personal finance in particular is it is a skill. It's not just knowledge. It is, a set of behaviors that you have to master over time. And I liken it to driving. So, you would never, I don't know, do you have kids?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So you would never give your kid a lecture about driving and give them the keys to your car and say, go, have at it, would you?
No, definitely not.
As personal finance is kind of the same way. People need to really practice. The problem is that as people are practicing, the problem is people a lot of times don't see the effects of their actions until well after the fact. And so they don't understand what they've done wrong, what they've done right until, it's years later and they've already dug themselves into this huge hole. The other beauty of gaming is that it basically, allows you to speed up the consequences of whatever it is you do. So you can emulate the real world, but you can speed up those consequences. So if you're going to run up credit card debt, instead of that taking years, that can happen in a week. And you can see the consequences, and then you can start over.
Gotcha. So how do you, when it comes to something like that, and I want to get into also like what processes that you're using within technology to bring about that educational experience. But I want to ask you, how do you, I guess, how are you going about it to separate it being a game to this could happen in reality? Because from a user perspective, since you're able to start over, you still have that, this is just a game type of mentality. And how do you get people to translate that over into real life?
Right. So even in the game, you're able to start over, but that's not without consequence, right? So If you think about when you're playing game, particularly if you built up, so in our game, you try to build your life. And so when I say start over, starting over means losing all the progress that you've made, and that progress may have been made over months. That's not a good thing from a player's perspective. And even though it's not nearly the same as, say, declaring bankruptcy, it still reinforces the lesson of, I don't want to do this. And because our game in particular, it mirrors real life. So the idea is that you choose a character. You could be a banker, you could be a rapper, you could be a rock star, you could be a plumber. And in the context of that role, you basically build your fantasy life. And as you're trying to build that life, you're constantly forced to make economic trade-offs. What do you spend your money on? Do you spend that money on, new clothes for your avatar? Do you invest it in equipment or additional education that will increase your earning potential? Or, do you use it so you can have a nicer house? And so you're constantly forced to make those trade-offs. And so the goal is to build your fantasy life to, accumulate not only money, to accumulate skill and reputation. And so you have to start over, and you give up, all of that. And that is the cost. And maybe the consequence is not as dire as in the real world, but it's still enough to teach the lesson.
Excellent. So when it comes to the technology side of it, what's the process that you all as a team are using as far as establishing that type of, not only the message, but the process of the game? So how are you going about, what's your, I guess, like brainstorming process like in order to bring this game about?
Well, it's a very multidisciplinary process. So part of, answering that question is to understand that you have all these different, facets of the game that are represented by the team. So we have a game designer. We have, I have a lot of experience on the personal finance side. And so we work together to translate, some of the ideas that I have, into gaming elements. And likewise, he knows how to build a good game. And so, I work with him to make sure that the things that we're building are also aligned with teaching good, financial habits.
Gotcha. Sounds like an excellent product. When do you expect to launch that?
So that will be in, late September, early October.
Okay, so it's not too far off.
Yeah, so it's definitely coming up.
Is this going to be, you say it's a mobile gaming, so this is something that's going to be downloadable via like your mobile phone, like
exactly.
iPad.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it'll be on the iOS platform.
Okay. Any chance on you guys bringing it to Android?
Yeah, so it's definitely something we want to do.
Okay.
If things progress on Apple's platform, and we'll definitely plan to move it over.
Excellent. Now, what's your target audience for this game?
So with this game, we're targeting college and high school students.
Okay. Are you guys as far as marketing? Are you what type of marketing strategies are you guys using?
Well, it's kind of a mix of first it starts with building a really great game. The game itself has really deeply embedded social elements.
Okay.
So even more so than your typical mobile game, and that's really important because 50% of players find out about games through word of mouth. So that's the biggest driver of game adoption. And so having a really great game and then having that game have strong social elements makes a big difference as to whether people hear about your game. The second piece, will be forming strategic relationships with colleges, with financial institutions, and also with Apple, honestly. And then the third piece is really going out and trying to get press for it, so that the story gets out and so that people become aware of the work that we're trying to do.
Excellent. Well, you definitely have an outlet, on Blacks in Technology. Whenever you guys go ahead and release it, shoot me an email, let me know. I'll definitely put it up in the news section on the site, because not only is this something that technology related, but personal finance is also a huge factor that needs to be learned, especially in the Black community. So those two things married together is, will be something that I definitely would want to promote. So whatever you guys launch, let me know.
Definitely.
Thank you. No problem. So what type of research went into? You were talking about your game having a social element. What type of research did you all do, or was it that just something that was automatic, like, hey, this game needs to have a social aspect? And then, if you can answer that, then tell us more about the game. Tell us more about that social aspect as far as how the game operates.
Yeah, so in terms of the research, I mean, one of the things we saw, was that some of the really great breakout games have those social elements. And when you think about, kind of like as I mentioned, in terms of research, we started asking, well, how do people hear about games? We found that word of mouth was really the biggest driver, hands down. And that social games that were done well were some of the, breakout successes.
Okay.
And so for us, it was kind of a no-brainer to, add in social elements. And it also just made sense in terms of the type of game, we were building. And so, as I mentioned, in terms of the way the game works, you basically choose a character. You can be, let's say you decide you can be a banker, you could be kind of anything else. And the whole concept of the game is, it's kind of you fulfilling your fantasy of your future self. So where will you be in 5 or 10 years? And so in that context, you do tasks which allow you to accumulate resources. And that can be money, that can be skill, and that can be reputation. And these resources you then spend throughout the rest of the game. So what does that mean? Well, money is easy. You have to pay rent, you have to feed your avatar, you have to maybe eventually buy a car, you need to buy new clothing for your avatar, you need to potentially invest in your education, and you need to save. And so all of these things are things that require money, and you have to figure out how to allocate that resource appropriately. But you have these other resources like skill and reputation as well. So not every task you do, or now the work you do, will be for money. Sometimes it's to build your skill level. Sometimes it's to build your reputation. Sometimes it's, a favor to a friend. Why is that important? Well, certain jobs you won't be able to get unless you have a high enough skill level. Likewise, when it comes to reputation, you might decide, as a thinker, you want to start your own bank. And that will require you to get investments from other people. And you can only do so if you have enough friends who are playing the game with you. And if your reputation is sufficiently high from having, from the previous things you've done.
Nice. It sounds so the interaction comes into play. The social aspect comes up into play in order to build your reputation. You bring in friends to play along in this game with you.
Exactly, and friends can do other things like, let's say your house catches on fire. Well, if your friend is a firefighter, then they'll get message that your house is on fire, and they can go online and they can log in and put the fire out before you even know about it.
Oh, nice.
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 So things like that. Or if you get kicked out of your house, you can go sleep on a friend's couch. And one of the important things about the game is that the goal is not actually accumulation of wealth; it's balance. And so your goal is to keep your avatar as happy as possible while achieving whatever other goals you have in the game. And so happiness requires you to spend money on the things that make sense. So you have to feed your avatar, or else it'll get really hungry and you'll be unhappy. And if you're unhappy, your work performance will plummet. So you have to feed your avatar. You have to go out with friends. You have to make sure you save. So all of these things contribute to your happiness. And your goal is to be as happy as possible while achieving whatever specific goals you have. So if you're a rapper, your goal might be to one day play Madison Square Garden and to build up a fan base of millions of fans. But you can't just work all the time. You have to do these other stuff to maintain your happiness, or else you can't win the game.
Gotcha. That's a pretty interesting concept. Definitely be excited to see it when it comes out. Is this going to be available for free, or is there going to be a paid version?
Yeah, so the game will be free, and yes, the game will be free.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So tell us about the Hidden Genius Project. This is pretty much how I heard about you, and how what really caught my eye was this program and organization that you all started up. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So the Hidden Genius Project, the kind of impetus for it was I moved to Oakland recently, along with one of my teammates, and as I looked around, I saw that Oakland was rapidly changing, but that black men in particular were not participating in the prosperity that was being generated. And so that didn't make any sense to me, because technology is one of those industries that's actually really accessible. It requires strong work ethic, creativity, perseverance, but it's something that you don't even technically have to go to school for. And so I said there's no reason that young black men shouldn't be have access to the opportunities that exist within the tech industry. And so I started talking to some of my friends, and who were also black men in tech, and they felt the same way. And so we got together and said, well, let's put together a program that teaches young black men, particularly high school students, software development, design, as well as entrepreneurial thinking. And the hypothesis was simply that we think that, a lot of these kids could be software developers, if they just had the exposure and a little bit of guidance. And so, our goal was to find kids who had great potential, but who weren't necessarily displaying that potential, at present. And you showed them, what was possible. And, from there, the Hidden Genius program was born. We launched June 25th. And, we have about 5 kids to start off with. And the goal is to expand that, once we finish, our initial pilot.
Excellent. And I like what you say about about opportunity and about kids needing that guidance. That's one of the primary things that I like to say, when talking about Blacks in Technology. When I'm explaining it to anybody, one of my sayings is, an opportunity is only as good as the person who can take advantage of it. And when what I mean by that is, there's opportunity out there, but what good is that opportunity if that person does not know how to take advantage of that opportunity? So we need organizations like yours, organizations like Blacks in Technology, to show not only young kids but our culture in general, that how to take advantage of these opportunities, and within our space, that opportunity being technology. So I definitely agree with you 100% on that. So I was reading about the Hidden Genius Project, and your focus, you state, was on at-risk 15 to 18-year-old black males. And teaching them, you get together a team, like technology professionals, entrepreneurs that develop mobile applications and things like that. So is that still your core group, or did you say, okay, we're going to take kids from 7 to 15? Or are you still focusing on the 15 to 18-year-old?
No, still the same focus.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about your team members. You've got about, it looks like 16 members here?
Right. So, all in is probably about, 8 or so, but 8 or so of us total. But we, in terms of, the core team, so, Kirk Collins, Kilimanjaro Robs, Isaac Hayes, Razumi Hayes, myself. So Kurt is a technology entrepreneur. Went to spent some time at MIT, and part of several startups that went public, and then decided to launch his own. So he's been in tech, for probably, I'd say, about 15, 20 years almost now.
Okay.
And he's been, in software development, since he was probably 8. He's been, building stuff.
Okay.
So he's been at it for a while. Kilimanjaro, likewise, has been in software development for quite a while. He, done several startups. Also, originally he's an engineer by training, but has also been working as a product manager. Most recently, was working at, Nokia.
Oh, nice.
And then, and then Isaac is great because he's bringing the user experience design, piece of this. And so has, years of user experience design, currently working for Salesforce.com. And his wife, Razumi, is, a primary school teacher. and she's working with the students. I shouldn't call them students. She's working, she's working with the interns on their writing skills. So helping them to express themselves, effectively, but particularly when it comes to, writing blog posts, writing memos, things that you will be required to do often, in business.
Excellent. Sounds like you have some heavy hitters on your team there. Sounds like a really good thing.
Really lucked out. When I reached out to people, they were just so enthusiastic about pitching in and just willing to, kind of help. Just because they thought I was a worthy cause.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely, as well, would like to promote that as well on the site. So, tell me about the actual the program. What's the curriculum like?
So the program for the curriculum, the curriculum for the program is, mainly focused on software development, and it's kind of a little bit split up. So what I mean by that is, say 3/4 of the time is spent talking about, software development, teaching the kids the logic that goes along with software development, teaching them, actual, coding languages. So the last, kind of 3 weeks, we just kind of gave them a brief introduction to software development. They built a calculator, a simple calculator that they coded themselves. And the next, kind of 5 weeks, so at the end of last week, they chose a single project. They all proposed projects that they wanted to work on, and then they voted and chose a single project for an app that they would build. And so the next 5 weeks, they're going to be coding that app.
Okay.
And so anything that we teach them will be around that. But the other thing that they've been learning, as I mentioned before, is user experience design. So once a week, Isaac works with them, and he, takes them through, they create their own wireframes of different potential products. They just walk through, kind of different user scenarios, and they just learn, the different pieces of how to, build products that are, usable, by regular people. And then, I help out a little bit in terms of, on the business side, but also just helping them to strengthen core skills. So we see that, someone needs a little bit of help with math, or, teaching them things like, how to present themselves in public, even, small things like, how to shake hands, following up with people that you've just met, etc.
That sounds excellent. I like the like I said before, how you guys are not only just teaching them the tech side, but you're throwing some business in there. You're throwing life skills in there as well, which could go further than the actual tech part of it. Especially when it comes to business, a lot of tech guys can get buried in the tech, and they forget about the business side of it, and how business or how technology relates to the business. So that's a huge thing. I noticed when you sent me some information about the Hidden Genius Project, what I like most about the background sheet that you sent me is all the pictures at the bottom. Looks like you guys are having a lot of fun, smiling a lot, which is good, because it's that whole image of being a techie that I like to portray. It's not about being this quote unquote super geek person, but it's about bringing your own personality to technology and letting you define what being, a tech person is, and not letting that define you. So I like that aspect of it as well. So what's the response been like? You say you have like what you said, about 3 to 5 kids starting out?
5 kids starting out. And we chose that number specifically because we wanted to make it a very intimate group, and we wanted to be able to dedicate a lot of time, to each person in the program. And so the response has been, extremely positive. We put this program together in a very, very short period of time. From kind of idea to, first day, it was probably about 8 weeks.
Wow.
And, and that included, obviously, everything from getting space to procuring equipment to recruiting the students themselves. And so with that said, the response has been very positive. We've had, a lot of folks just being willing to pitch in, donate their time, donate their money. And, on the student side, we had about 21 students apply, and that was us only getting the word out over about 2 weeks. So,
nice.
Next time we'll definitely take a lot more time to let people know, that the program is coming up and that this is happening. As I said, this time it was just, it all came together in a very, very short amount of time.
So is that a number that you guys would like to stick with, 5 students at a time, or is there any plans for expanding that number?
Yeah, so we'd love to expand it. We do plan on expanding it. This is, kind of our first, our pilot, if you will. And
gotcha.
once this is proven successful, then, we'll look to expand it and, potentially even, help other people duplicate in other places.
Yeah, that would be an excellent thing. To be able to expand it. I know Black Girls Code, they definitely got some great things going on over there where they're expanding in other cities as well. So definitely a positive thing. What's the follow-up like? So for instance, your students, they come in, they go through the program, and then what's for the students after they leave the program? Is there any type of follow-up from your staff, or what's
sure.
that like?
It's not just a summer program. We, our commitment to them is, actually over several years. And so during the time, our goal would be to help them to really hone a marketable set of skills and to connect them with meaningful opportunities in software development. The reason we chose a slightly older age range was that when they came out of the program, we wanted them to have the opportunity to actually go and work, for startups, start their own company, or, join a company, a bigger company like Salesforce.com, and have the full set of skills that an entry-level software developer would need.
Nice.
And so, and we always say we hope that, any of our students, can go to college. Some of them will definitely go to college. We designed this program with the thought process that even if one of our students said, hey, I'm not sure that college is right for me, they would have a set of skills that would allow them to go walk into a company, and make, over $100,000 a year.
Wow, yeah. Well, definitely, I would like to, extend, an offer for anybody, in your program that comes out of the program to definitely join the Blacks in Technology community site. We have a ton of developers on the site for our students. If they need answers about anything, when it comes to software development, when it comes to, user experience or anything like that, we definitely have the membership there and support, for them if they want it. We have a fully functional forum on there, so they can go there. They can post any questions that they have. There's a fully functional chat room as well, so if they want to go in and they, might find somebody on there who could be a potential mentor. I mean, there's people on the site that have their own software development companies, and it'll just, it'll be good for them as well. Even if they want to say, hey, I'm looking for a mentor, I'm trying to learn this language, blah blah blah. There's definitely somebody on there that and the great thing about the site is all the members who regularly participate on the site, they're always willing to help, always willing to learn advice and exchange knowledge and things like that. So that's definitely there for them as well.
Thank you for the offer, and I will pass that invitation along to them.
No, definitely. So what I think we might have. So you see this, develop the Hidden Genius Project moving forward, branching out to other cities. Is there anything, do you have anything else on the agenda for the Hidden Genius Project, or is that your main goal to just get it going, get it branched out to other cities and go from there?
Well, I think, the project is definitely still evolving. Our first goal is, like I said, really just to prove our hypothesis, which is that we can take students who, may not have the best grades, but, who have tremendous potential, and teach them a set of really powerful skills that have the ability to, alter, their trajectory in life. And, like I said, one of the reasons this was started was because I moved to Oakland. I saw how quickly it was changing, and that, black men in particular were not able to participate in that change. And so when we think about our goal for the project, it was really to say, well, how do you stop Oakland from becoming completely gentrified when you have, the number of the percentage black population going from 40% to 27% in, a relatively short period of time? And the answer is, well, you can do affordable housing, but that only goes so far, or you can help, the people who live here to raise their incomes. And that is what we really are kind of focused on. How can we, get back to, the communities which exist here by, taking young black men and giving them marketable skills that then, give them incomes which allow them to stay here, and also be examples, within their communities of what is possible if, with both hard work and, in acquiring the right types of skills and knowledge. And so that's our overall goal. And, we'd love to, just expand that as much as possible in terms of the number of people who, we're able to take in.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely a very worthy organization. Sounds like you guys are doing some great things. Like I said, anything that, Blacks in Technology can do to promote the Hidden Genius Project, anything that we can do to help you guys out, just shoot me an email. We've been, pretty much communicating for a couple of weeks now, so you definitely have my contact information. So let me know. I'm always willing to help out. And also, spread the word. If, like I said, if any of your students, any of your team members want to join the site, it's all free. It's definitely a great community to be a part of. You guys are more than willing to, join the site. Give us, before we head out of here, go ahead and give us the URL for Hidden Genius Project, as well as like any Twitter names or anything like that, or any way
Sure.
anyone wants to get in contact with you.
Yeah, sure. So the URL is hiddengeniusproject.org.
Okay. Okay. Is there a Twitter handle for that as well?
Yeah, so we do have a Twitter handle. And let me just that I need to.
I'll also post this stuff. I'll post it all on the show notes as well. So if anybody wants to, don't catch it, here on the actual podcast, you can go to blacksintechnology.net and go to a podcast section, and it'll be there as well. So.
Okay, yeah, that would be great.
Okay. So that Twitter handle was.
And I will have to get back to you on that piece.
Okay. Oh, no problem. No problem. Just shoot me an email. We'll post it in the show notes, like I said, and get that up on the site for you as well. And I'll shoot you an email, and let you know when it's posted.
That would be great. And the Twitter handle is Hidden Genius Pro, Pro.
Okay. Hidden Genius Pro. Excellent. Excellent. Well, Jason, man, I want to thank you for coming on the show, spending some time with us, telling us about your great organization. Definitely wish you well in the future. Take care.
Thank you.
No problem. You're welcome.
Have a great one.
You too.
Blacks in Technology.
Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology. Blacks in Technology.